Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Thank you so much for joining us for another installment of our top 50 games of all time.
2020 edition.
All right, so we are going through numbers 20 through 11 in this list, so we are almost to the end.
All right, and I'm going to start. So my 20 was Ryan's 23, and that is Puerto Rico. And I really like this game. You're trying to get the most amount of points at the end of the game. But what's really fun is the action selection. And so whatever action you choose when it's your turn to choose, everybody else also gets to take that action just on a lesser scale. So sometimes you might choose something that's not as advantageous for you because you really don't want to help that other person out. So I really like how you work with that. And also the 2-player variant of this is perfection. It gives you the exact same feel of a higher player count.
Yeah, a lot of those games require you to have like a dummy player or some kind of weird AI thing that we just don't like messing with.
No. Those aren't the game's fault. I mean, the games don't want to be played like that, but this one has a really nice variant.
Yeah. So my number 20 is called Campaign Trail. I played it 2 or 3 years ago at Gen Con, and it stole the show. On the drive home, we were kind of discussing, okay, what was your favorite costume that you saw? What was your favorite whatever? What was your favorite game that you played? And I was super surprised that my answer was Campaign Trail. I had played like 30 games or something. And this game just stole the show. It was all about the American election system, and the Electoral College. So basically when a state has a certain amount of electoral votes. So like a state like Iowa has 7. So even if 51% of the population of Iowa votes for candidate A, all 7 of their electoral votes goes towards, a campaign or candidate A. And so as on the board, what you're doing is you are trying to figure out the math of how to get to the number of electoral votes you need in order to win the election. So it plays up to 6 players. There's vice president candidates and presidential candidates. You're walking using your little meeples all around the board, trying to get certain states to be on your side. So you're following the issues that are important to certain states, and just, again, trying to work that math, trying to get to that magic number of, I think it's 273 electoral votes. Is that right? I can't remember. But yeah, it's just, you can avoid the politics of it in the sense of, it doesn't matter whether you're a given political party. It's all about the math, and it's all about the area control of being in these certain areas. And it's just a really cool way to teach how the Electoral College in America works.
So my number 19 was Ryan's 48, and that is Race for the Galaxy. And this has multi-use cards in spades. I love how that works. So you're racing to deplete the points, and then after that, whoever has the most points, the pool of points, and then whoever has the most points after that wins. And I just really like how this plays. It's also similar to Puerto Rico about how you get to choose an action, and then your opponents get to take a lesser version of that. But they're also choosing an action, and you also get to take a lesser version of that. So I just think it's really fun how that works out.
All right, so my number 19 is going to appear higher on Bethany's list. So I'm just going to program my bots over here and just wait to take the action.
I just like that. That's fun. Okay, so my number 18 is Paladins of the West Kingdom. So in this game, you're drafting your meeples to do different things. All the different colored meeples allow you to do different things on your personal player board. But what's really fun on that personal player board is, in order to go higher on these different trackers, you have to have been high on a different tracker. So like if you want to go up here, you have to move this up to unlock that ability. So I just think that's really fun how you kind of have to manage everything. You can't forget about anything, but at the same time, you can't excel at everything. So this is really fun.
All right, so now my number 18 is also going to be higher on Bethany's list. I'm just going to kind of set the prices and wait to see what she buys.
You're getting really good at this. All right, so my number 17 is Aquasphere. Guess who this is designed by?
Yeah, this is my number 19. This is designed by Stefan Feld. My friend Scott got a sneak peek at my top 10, and he was disappointed there wasn't enough Feld games because he knows that I'm a Feld fan.
Just wait for the rest of this list.
Yeah, so this is like, just hold on. This is not the first Feld game that we mentioned. It's not. There's like a lot of Feld on my list. Yeah. All right, so Aquasphere in this game, I'll talk about it for a second, and then I'll let you finish. But it's you have this research station under the sea. You're researching all these different facets. You have these robots that are doing the work for you. You have to spend one action programming them, and then another action having them do whatever they're programmed to do. So they can fight off these kind of octopod things that are trying to sneak into your research station. You can collect these gems and send those to the surface to help get you more points. You can't get more points once you're past a certain point unless you send up gems to the surface. And you are trying to... there's just all different actions you can take, but there's only a certain amount of actions that you have.
Yeah.
I think there's like 16 or 18 actions in the game that you're guaranteed. So it's not many at all. You're following the kind of programming track to program your robots. You do what the actions are. It is tight. There's not a lot of time to do all the things that you need to do in this game.
I like how they use time in this game too. If you want to move across to a different quadrant, you have to spend time to do that. And on your personal player board, you have a limit to how many things you can even store. So you might think, oh, this has a lot of gems on it. I'll just put them all on my board and I'll be good for the rest of the game. But you can't, because it limits how many you can store. So you have to go back and get other things or expand your board so you can store more. And it's just, it's a good time.
It's a failed masterpiece.
Yeah.
All right.
It's like those shows, Masterpiece, failed edition.
Yeah. All right, so that was Bethany's 17. My 17 is Obscurio. This is kind of the sequel to Mysterium. Mysterium was awesome. I love Mysterium. It's kind of a cooperative game where you have someone was murdered. They're a ghost now, and they're trying to convey to these investigators who the murderer was, using these vague clues and these really abstract pictures. This similarly has those really crazy pictures, these abstract pictures. But now what's happening is you're trapped in this mansion, and there's actually a book that is trying to tell you how to get out of the mansion, and it's trying to tell you these different clues, picking out certain aspects of the cards. But there's a lot of these different traps that can happen along the way. Like maybe there's a red filter that goes over the cards, or there's you only use one card instead of using two, or I can't remember what they are. But there's a ton of these different cool traps that modify it. And so you're having to go through these different rooms to escape. But the trick of this one is there's a traitor amongst your midst. You're trying to figure out who the traitor is as well, because they're going to try to throw you off. They're going to say, well, I think that the ghost is, or the book is trying to tell us this, but really I'm saying this as the book. So it's just having a traitor in your midst is just super fun. We played a game with this at our local convention, NumiCon, the most premier board game convention in central East Iowa. And he was just
Brian.
Yeah, he was just a pro at it. Just cool as a cucumber, just really subtle.
I was shocked. I was so shocked. Like, he helped us just to backstab us, and it was perfectly played. He was a genius at this.
That's my number 17, Obscurio.
So my number 16 was Ryan's 35, and this is Gizmos. This is also a really fun one that got played a lot at our NumiCon. But it's the thing that's neat about this game is it's kind of an engine building. You're drafting these marbles to do things, and you don't know what marbles are going to come out, but you can kind of mitigate that, try to help things push in your favor. But I just think the whole aesthetic of this game looks really neat. So when this game is set up, you're immediately drawn to it and you want to know what's happening and you want to know how to play it. So I think that the gameplay mixed with what it looks like is just a really captivating game.
All right, so my number 16 is Carpe Diem, yet again another Stefan Feld game. This was on your number 38, actually.
Yeah.
So this is a game we both like. This is a game where you are trying to draft these tiles, which are like buildings and fields, and you're building a city, basically. And when you can complete certain buildings, you get an action. So when you complete the bakery, you get bread. When you complete a grape vineyard, you get grapes. So there's all these things that you're trying to complete, trying to get more resources, because at the end of each round, there's a scoring phase, and you have to have a certain amount of goods or buildings completed in order to score these certain kinds of cards. And there's kind of the higher up you are on the certain track, you can choose first on the scoring things. It's kind of like a first come first serve thing, so you really want to be in control of that part of the board too. And then another facet of the game is around your city. There's kind of this border that tells you if you're able to build, one of those bakeries along this axis, you're going to get X amount of points. So in addition to just getting the buildings and building them, you're trying to build them in certain places on the board, and the mapping all that out and planning ahead. I just love this game. It is so much fun.
My number 15 was Ryan's 50, and this is Dead of Winter. This is a game I played for the first time in like September, October, and I was upset that I've never played it before because it was that good. I just think this is very good at immersing yourself in it, and also everything makes sense. So when you go to a certain building to look for things, you're going to have a higher percentage of finding. Like, if you go to the grocery store, you're going to have a higher percentage of finding food than you will guns type of thing. Or if you go to the library is one of the places, right? And you can find, like, blueprints there. So stuff like that. I just really like how that works. And how you travel determines what you have to roll to see if you're going to attract any zombies. And I just think they did a really good job of mixing in the mechanics, and the crossroads system was really fun because you don't know what's going to happen, what characters you have in play, how that's going to affect it, and it makes me very excited for all crossroad systems.
Yeah, okay. Ambiguous. My number 15, are we 15? My number 15 is by, guess who? Stefan Feld. Bora Bora. This is the game set in the Polynesian Islands.
This is my 50.
No, yeah, that's right. It was your 50 as well. This is, again, so...
Oh my gosh. Both of our 15s were each other's 50s.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's like... That's how they're special games. You should check them out.
Yeah.
Bora Bora it's set in these Polynesian islands. You have, again, a very few amount of actions to work with. It's played over 6 rounds. You are trying to explore these islands. You are having, getting the help from these men and women tiles to help get you a couple extra actions, a couple extra resources. You're buying jewelry. You're sending priests to the temple. You are fishing. It uses this kind of dice placement mechanic as your workers, I guess. And the higher the value, the more of that thing you can do. However, you can't place a high value where there's a lower value. So having both high numbers and low numbers is important in this game. And all along the way, there are these god cards you can use to kind of modify the value of dice. You can use it to place a dice where you shouldn't be able to place them. You can use it to get more points or resources. So every part of this game is just colorful. It gets you points. It's a true point salad in that sense of everything you do can get you points, and you just try to maximize as many areas as you can.
My number 14 is Quirky Circuits, and I don't know if I've laughed as hard playing any other game. This game is just so funny, and you're trying to program a robot, but you don't know what each other has or what you're playing, and you both have to play cards in order to make this robot do something. So it's just, or a Roomba, but the cat's on the Roomba. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And it's really hilarious because you have a clue based on the back of your teammates' cards what you're trying to do, but you don't actually know. So you can guess, or you could think that they were moving 2 spots when only they're really moving 1 spot, and now you just like screwed up the rest of the turns based on how you're turning it. And it's just like, once you can get over the fact that you probably won't win a lot because you're not going to know what each other has, once you get over that hump, which it was a hump I had to get over, then it's a blast and you just laugh. I laugh so much in this game. Hilarious.
Yeah, I definitely think you have a little bit more control at the 2-player counts than the 4.
Because every player has to play a card.
So I think the probability of winning goes down quite a bit, but the silliness and the laughing goes up. So it's fun at all player counts, but 2, definitely we've seen the most odds of winning.
Yeah.
All right, so that was your 14. My 14 is Democr. So I don't know what it is about this list and elections, but I really like election games, apparently. Democr is all about the German election system. So this game, again, you are candidates trying to vie to be the leader of Germany, and there are all these kind of pre-elections in different regions all over the map, and then one final election where you are a winner is declared. but the issues are always kind of changing. Does the populace want you to be pro genetically modified foods or against genetically modified foods, or whatever it is? And you have to kind of use these cards to figure, to change your stance on these different things to try to keep the populace with you. And again, politics are irrelevant to it. It's all about the election system.
Yeah.
And it's a long game. This is a 4 or 5 hour game, so you really have to block off a good chunk of time for it. And as a result of that, I've not played it nearly as much as I want to. But man, it is such a cool game.
All right, so my number 13 is Sheriff of Nottingham. And this is a bluffing game where you're trying to get things into Nottingham. And every character takes a turn being the sheriff. And so you can choose to look at their goods that they're bringing in, or you could choose to not. They can bring in, what is it that they bring?
Contraband, illegal stuff.
Yeah, I keep on wanting to say counterfeit. Anyway, so they're bringing in contraband, which gives you more points. But it's also illegal. So if you're caught with it, then it hurts you. So if the sheriff calls you, you're telling the truth, it hurts the sheriff. If the sheriff calls you and you were lying, it hurts you. So if you play this, yeah. So if you play this game normal, you can actually win without smuggling anything in, which is why I recommend playing with the expansions, because you can't win without lying. And I just think it's really fun to see what people do. I never win this game. I'm so bad at bluffing and things like that in general. But I just think it's really fun, and you really get to know your friends.
There's a kind of a cool negotiation aspect of it too. You can make unlimited bets and barters and deals. Yeah. And it just gets wild.
So many times we're like, I don't care if you check my bag, but I'll give you $3 to check their bag. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun.
That actually inspired some of the mechanisms in the game that I was trying to design too, because I just love that idea.
Yeah.
All right, so that was your 13. My number 13 is by Stefan Feld. This is Trajan. Trajan is the game that made me realize that Stefan Feld is a genius. It has this kind of cool rondel action selection thing, but it's not a rondel necessarily. It's more of like a mancala. So you pick up everything out of a dish, and then you distribute what was in that dish in a circle, and wherever the last piece you play lands, you take that action. And there are 6 actions in the game that you can take. They all get you points in various ways. You can ship goods. You can conquer military territories. You can get votes in the Senate. All those kinds of things in that Roman time. That Roman theming. Yeah. And it's all about the Trajan Arch that's famous for everywhere that the General Trajan went. He had these arches built, and you kind of have that footprint throughout the game. And oh my gosh, it is. At the time, I thought when we first played this, I thought it was like the heaviest game in the world. It's so weird how things have changed, and it's still heavy, I guess.
Yeah, but then you played it 100 times on Bora Bora.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of this is a game I've just played so much, both physically and online, and I love it every time. It never, ever gets old.
Yeah, never gets old. Which is why you played it 100 times on Bora Bora.
Yeah.
So my number...
Challenge me.
You gotta give them your...
Sky Animal, 22.
Okay, there.
I'll probably lose, but I'll have a good time.
You just, lapped me.
Well, you put up a good fight.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so my number 12 is Seven Wonders, and I really love this game. It is a card drafting game, and I think I really like how you have to draft the cards, and you're trying to work for things, and you have to kind of pit against the people on both your sides. I also like that when you draft in one round, you go one direction, the other round you go the other direction, and then you go back the other direction. And I like that in this game, regardless of the player count, outside of AP, it plays the same amount of time. So I like that playing at 3-player, which I wouldn't recommend, all the way up to 7-player, you still are taking the same amount of time to play this game. It's good, yo.
It is good. My number 12.
Yeah. Is it another Feld game?
It's another Feld game. It's the last one for this list, but it's a good one. Castles of Burgundy. I see this game pop up on so many lists of people who
do lists.
Yeah. And this is on so many of them because it's so accessible. I would say it's a lighter Feld. That doesn't mean it's light though. There's still a lot of moving pieces. but you're drafting all these tiles from, using dice to draft these different tiles from the board, putting them over into your board, and then building them into your district. Each spot on the district is kind of reserved for a different type of tile, so farmlands for farm animals, castles for castles, that kind of thing. There's, you can put boats on water. And each one of those has a different effect on your board, whether it be points or extra actions or move up on the round tracker, on the player order. It goes so fast. We play 2-player games in like a half hour, 45 minutes tops.
That's with setup too and everything. It's really
It's there's these bags that we get for the setup that speed it up so much, and we've got a ton of expansions, and there was a 10th anniversary edition that had kind of brighter colors, and that we don't have that, unfortunately.
There's a teams version too. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, there's a team version. We have those boards. We've only played it a couple times, but man, Castle of Burgundy is just so good. Again, I never get tired of this game. I could play it. I'll play it right now.
Guess what else?
Let's just stop the list. Let's just stop where we're at. Play it.
Guess what else you can challenge him on Bora.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Sky Animal 22.
I will crush you at that one.
Yeah, but I just crushed you.
Well, then don't challenge her because she will crush you even more.
Okay, so my 11 was Ryan's 18, and this is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. And this is just really fun. I think this was one of the first games that, I made us buy.
Yeah, you found it and you were like, this is a game.
Yeah.
I
didn't understand that I loved tile laying at the time. I know that now. But I was just really drawn to this game. It was super fun to play, how you're drafting these tiles to build your castle. But the tiles that you're drafting are at various points, and it's your opponent who chooses that point. They cost a certain amount, and it's your opponent who chooses what that amount is. So it's really fun of trying to decide what they're willing to spend, what they can spend, in order for you to get money. And sometimes they're going to pass, sometimes they're going to do different things. Sometimes they really want this thing because you can kind of guess what their bonus points are, and it's just, it's fun. Except for the snake track. Whoa.
Yeah, I agree with everything she said. That's my number 18. I found out a couple of things while playing it recently. I don't like it as much with the expansion. The expansion has some really cool, fun things to it. Don't get me wrong. It's just the simplicity and the genius of the original game was just so strong that you didn't need the expansion. Yeah. Kind of almost cluttered it up, it made the setup and teardown worse.
Yeah.
Also, higher player counts equals getting the chance to see more tiles and
more chances to hit your objectives.
Yeah. So the 2-player does play well, but 4 is better.
Yeah.
In our opinion.
Yeah.
All right, my number 11 is the first time I played it was probably what I'm going to call my favorite gaming experience of all time.
Not playing with your kids?
No. I love that, and I'm sure I'll do it today even. Well, that's special. That's a different thing. Come on, don't judge me. This is Captain Sonar. This is a game where you are 2 submarines hunting for each other in the ocean and trying to sink the other submarine. And it's all happening in real time. You have 4 people on each team. One person's the captain. One person is the weapons person. One person's doing the navigation. One person's trying to listen in on the other team, trying to figure out where they are in the ocean. So it's like the Hunt for the Red October in board game form.
Yeah. And
it's just so much fun. It's in real time. It is an absolute it's chaos, but at the same time you have a lot of control over basically everything that happens. And the reason it's not, I mentioned that it's one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. It's not my top 10. It's because of the needing exactly 8 players to play it. I've only played it maybe 3 or 4 times because it's so hard to get that group of people together.
Yeah, especially now.
Now it's almost illegal to get together with 8 people, plus kids in the house and everything. It can play lower player counts, but then people have to take on double roles. It plays best with 8, and exactly 8, and that means less opportunities to play it. You can play it at conventions. Oh wait, conventions are canceled too. So, Captain Sonar, really, really fun, unbelievable experience. Hard to get to the table though.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching our Feld list.
Yeah, Feld / various countries' election systems.
Yeah. Don't forget, we have one more coming up. Our top 10 games. Woo! Woo!
Of all time, 2020 edition.
Yeah, all-time 2020 edition. And you can always subscribe to us on YouTube if you want to see our games as they come out. Or, not our games, our reviews as they come out under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. You can also follow us on Facebook under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. If you want to see the games we're currently playing, follow us on Instagram under Ryan and Bethany. And if you want to chat with us, find us on Twitter under Ryan and Bethany 1.
All right, well, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We will see you next time for some more reviews and more lists. Bye, everybody.